Good afternoon and welcome to this weekly market update from AGM Markets. Today is the 15th of February 2013. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro dollar, cable, dollar Swiss, Aussie dollar and gold. There's no trade calls or recommendations made in this video. You trade at your own risk. If you could please read our full disclaimer on our website www.agmmarkets.com. For any new followers, we have three moving averages in each of these charts. The red one is a 55 simple. The purple is a 100 simple moving average, and the gold is a 200 simple moving average. The time frames that we're going to look at mainly are daily, 4 hour, and and 1 hour. It's just pure sort of a technical analysis and chart, sort of pure technical analysis and chart-based setups today. Won't talk about fundamentals. It's mainly just we'll just go through some setups that I've been looking at this week. We'll kind of just review the market and just generally see what stuff is going on the charts. Okay, and this is the Euro dollar chart, the daily chart. I mean, the first things I'll automatically look at, and it's great to keep perspective, is we are in a solid uptrend here. I mean, some people like to bring their trend lines in a bit in terms of where all the daily the daily candle closes are. Some like to bring them out. For the purpose of this chart, I'll actually bring it in a bit because it counts. It comes in at around the second bit over here. This sort of this trough here also bounces off of it, so I'll bring it in a little bit, that one. We also have a slightly steeper trend line, which is around here, and you can also bring that one in a bit, and that coincides with this recent dip here, which we're currently testing, and also the 55 SMA is right under that. So if we now zoom in, you can see we're technically touching a key confluence point of support here, which is the trend line support and the 55-day moving average. Also, another thing we have is if you draw a Fibonacci retracement from that recent dip there to this to the highs up here. So you draw the high, then you just draw it a little bit wider, so you can take it as wide as you want. You'll notice that we have the 50% retracement. So let's go down a bit. The 50% retracement pretty much sitting right on that at the minute, and it's trying to get above it. So some interesting zones of support there. That's what I'll keep in focus on at the minute. Also we have remember, if we do, let's say we come a little bit further, we have a nice trend line support here, which is at around the 1.3270s level. That's the 61.8% retracement. But no, very interesting chart, Euro, especially on that daily chart, and even on the 4 hour. If you zoom it out, then you can see it a little bit clearer there. In terms of the 4 hour, we've technically broken below this 50% level. We can now see this current candle is testing that old support, which is now acting as new resistance, and it's struggling to get above. So it's looking a bit heavier. Maybe it wants to come down to the 61.8 level and this trend line support around here. But no, it's very, very interesting on Euro. I mean, in my opinion, I think you have to be looking for long term, sort of buy the dips at the minute, because it is in a solid current uptrend. If you look at this one is the 4 hour here, then you've got a nice sort of trend line resistance there, which you can keep in mind. But in terms of the 1 hour, the 1 hour's been quite choppy. Nothing massively of interest for me on there. It's all about this daily chart for me, and how the week ends up closing. Will the weekly candle close above this 50%, and where will this daily candle close? It's trying to hold, but it is looking a little bit weak as we speak. Okay, let's flip to cable chart. Cable on the daily chart looking very, very heavy. We were last few weeks we've been speaking about this fib setup. We start to get a nice hold at the 61.8, but it's a kind of fake out. So our daily candle closed above that 50% retracement just around there, but we've started to sell off. So it's looking very, very heavy cable, in my opinion. One interesting setup, if you flick it to the weekly chart, is if you draw a fib from that bottom of the so if you draw your fib all the way from the bottom there, this is the weekly, you can see there's multiple support levels at around a 50% retracement. So it's at what, 1 spot 53.40. all those bounces. So you've got one there, one there, one there, and one there, around hovering the mouse. It looks like that's where it wants to come down to. So keep an eye on that. I mean, that's a very long-term perspective. That's the weekly chart. We will look at the shorter-term time frame, but that's just to kind of keep it in there. So you've got some sort of bigger context there. But yeah, in terms of daily, very, very heavy. Nothing massively of interest for me personally, apart from this key support here, which it looks like it wants to come down, and that's at one spot 53.38. In fact, yeah, that's the sort of previous support actually. So yeah, you can see it a little bit clearer on. You can see it on the daily chart where that first support is. If you look to your left here on this chart where I'm hovering the mouse over, you can see those daily candles were pierced above, and we've got we've got 4 candles close above that. So interesting level of support. It looks like it's looking very heavy at the minute. In my opinion, I think it will get down to this level, and it's all about what happens when it does react. What happens when it does come down to that level? Will it form a nice reversal, or will we just smash straight through it? Also on this daily chart, you can see with the 55-day moving average, which is crossing below the 100-day moving average. That's a lot of people see that as a big selling signal, and you can see it's working quite well at the minute. We've had a few daily candles in a row start to tank down. So yeah, that's what's been going on the daily chart. In terms of the 4-hour, what I'm really focused on, well, I mean, we're in a clear downtrend here. There's no denying that. And also, you could probably draw a channel here. So if you draw from the lows there, you can see the market has purely just been playing inside of this channel. A lot of people will be playing sort of a channel bounces there. So you can sell when it hits the top of the channel, and buy when it hits the bottom of the channel. But yeah, it's just looking very, very heavy really. A lot of people just selling into the pullbacks here. And let's say if we do start to get a nice bounce up, then on the daily chart it's all that 200-day moving average, but that's a long way away now. I personally don't think we will get up here. But you can see if you flick it to this 1-hour chart and you're looking for sort of selling opportunities, a lot of people have been selling at the 55 bar, well, the 55-hour moving averages on the 1-hour chart. That red moving average there, you can see, has been working quite well. And yeah, that's pretty much it really for cables. I mean, in my opinion, it's all about just. But for me, I'm very focused on this key support here. What will happen at that support? But it's looking very, very heavy, in my opinion, in this cable chart. If we flick it to dollar Swiss, this is the daily. You can see we had a lot of nice reaction at this 0.9073 support. I think we spoke about that in last week's video. We're starting to rotate and coil higher now. We've got above this 55-day moving average, and we're now looking to test this 100-day moving average at around the 0.9269 level. And yeah, of course, if we get above that 100-day moving average, then it's all about the 200-day moving average, which is at around 0.9424. People looking to cap this pair with the trendline resistance. You can either bring it in or you can bring it out, but we'll just bring it out for the purpose of this video, keep it nice and tidy. That trendline resistance will come in before that 200-day moving average. So sort of playing a nice sort of triangular formation here. We've bounced off support, we're starting to coil higher. The first test will be the 100-day moving average, and then it'll be that trendline resistance. What happens at that level if we do get there, which is looking very likely. Aussie dollar, in terms of the daily chart, first thing I always drop will be the fib here from the low to the high, but we're a long way away from that, so I'll delete that. What I will do is I'll zoom in on this daily chart and then check out the recent. So this is the key low here on the daily chart. You draw it to the highs, we see we've smashed all the way through that. Very interesting that this 50% did initially hold here. You can see that big candle there with the red body, and we did start to try and call towards the upside, but then we came back and we closed below. But then when we came back above the 61.8, you can see how well that 50% retracement was previous support, then acted as a ceiling. So very, very interesting price action there. You can see today's daily candles looking very heavy. Indeed, it will look like it will want to come down and close below this 61.8, which will then mean that the next target will be on Aussie dollar will be this 1.0150s level. But not a huge hugely interesting chart for me. Aussie dollar, I personally think, well, you look at euro dollar and cable, I think they're much more interesting, especially euro dollar. Although one thing I would be looking out for, I'll just clean this chart up a bit. So this is the 1 hour chart. If you're looking for a buying opportunity, if you zoom in here, the low of the chart all the way to the high here, surprise surprise, bouncing off the 50% retracement, you can see it's slightly pierced it. A lot of buyers would have had their stops just buying a 61.8. You can now see that it's trying to get a little bit higher there, so that'd be the 1 hour setup that I'd leave on my chart and just see how that plays out. It is trying to get up, it is struggling in my opinion, but yeah, that's definitely the 1 hour setup that I'd have on my chart, and also it's the same really for the 4 hour chart. So the 1 hour and 4 hour aren't really much different in my opinion. Okay, that's done for Forex. Let's have a look at the gold chart. Gold on this daily chart, the first thing that springs to mind are this trend line resistance around here. And I remember we've been speaking about the past few weeks, this fib here from the low on the daily chart to the high, and it was all about that 61.8. And I remember saying in last week's video we were getting really held up here at the 55-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. It was really struggling to get above this and try and coil towards the upside. You can see these two moving averages really held well, and I remember saying last week's video it was looking heavy, it looks like it wants to come back down, and that's exactly what's happened here. We've got stuck at these moving averages and we really are just selling off now. So the next sort of target area really will be this 1526. What's going to happen around here really? I mean, if you flip it to a shorter term time frame, it's just really it's just absolutely plunging. I mean, what you could do is you could add the 78.6 level and see whereabouts that comes in. So yes, the 78.6 fib comes in around 1584, so you can leave that on your chart and see what happens at that next sort of support level. And then of course you've got the 88.6, you want to leave that on your chart, but no, it is looking very, very heavy indeed. In fact, we are sort of forming a nice downtrend channel here. You can draw a sort of trend line support there at the, so we'll draw it from that low here. You can see we're starting to get some buyers coming in there at this channel support, so it'll be interesting to see how this daily candle closes. If it closes with a very decent lower wick, then it shows that the buyers are coming in, and it may then pop up and bounce and hit that top of the channel as well. So now quite an interesting chart. I preferred it when it was bouncing off the big fib levels. I thought it was going to call higher, being C. That 55-day moving average, as soon as it's crossed down that 200-day, it is really started to sell off there. So it's been interesting that, because on the other charts, I thought what chart it was, it may have been, well, yeah, the cable. We had the cable daily chart with the 55-day crossing down the 100-day, and what the chart was it? So we had another one where they were both crossing down. No, sorry, it was just cable. Yeah, so cable, we've had the 55-day moving average crossing down below the 100-day moving average, and on gold it's been the 55-day moving average crossing down below the 200-day moving average. So yes, that's all done really for the charts. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next week and we'll take a look at some more pairs. Feel free, because I'll post on the YouTube, if there's any other pairs you want to look at, then feel free to post them on the comment section. If you want to look at like dollar CAD or another commodity or something like that, feel free to post it and we'll go through it in next week's video. But yeah, have a great weekend, and catch you all next week.